Welcome to our countdown of America's most mysterious towns. Places where everyday facades hide dark, real-life secrets. Today we're uncovering towns that aren't just small dots on a map, but have harbored chilling crimes, eerie disappearances, and unsettling legends. From burning underground fires to unsolved crimes, these stories are as factual as they are fascinating. So buckle up as we journey through forgotten highways and abandoned ghost towns where history has left its most sinister mark. What would you do if a seemingly peaceful town harbored a crime that shocked the nation? Holcomb, Kansas may look like any small Midwestern town, but in 1959 it became the stage for one of America's most infamous crimes. The Clutter family, beloved by their community, had their lives brutally taken in a case that would later inspire Truman Capote's celebrated book, In Cold Blood. The meticulous planning and inexplicable violence and the ensuing investigation turned this quiet town into a symbol of how random evil can shatter lives. Despite the passage of decades, whispers of what really drove the killers and whether justice was ever fully served continue to haunt locals. Holcomb's dark chapter serves as a reminder that even in the heartland, sinister secrets can lurk behind friendly smiles and familiar faces. Could a shadowy figure have once roamed the streets, striking terror into the night? Texarkana straddles the border between Texas and Arkansas, a quaint town with an unsettling past. In 1946, the Texarkana moonlight crimes sent shockwaves through this dual-state community. A series of unsolved nighttime attacks left residents living in constant fear as an unknown assailant, dubbed the Phantom Slayer, stalked isolated roads and darkened alleys. The mystery deepened with each unsolved case, fueling local legends and a palpable sense of dread. Despite numerous investigations, the killer was never caught, leaving behind a trail of questions that still intrigue true crime enthusiasts today. Texarkana's legacy is not just about a crime spree, it's about a town that, for a brief time, became the epicenter of terror, where every creak in the night hinted at an unseen danger. What if the very earth beneath you hides secrets of a tragedy so immense that even decades later its full story remains shrouded in mystery? On December 6, 1907, Monongah, West Virginia was rocked by what remains the deadliest coal mining disaster in American history. In a mine owned by Fairmont Coal Company, a sudden explosion, likely triggered by a buildup of methane gas compounded by highly combustible coal dust, swept through the labyrinthine tunnels, claiming the lives of an estimated 362 miners. Survivors later recalled frantic moments in the dark, cramped passages where cries for help were muffled by the chaos of collapsing supports and roaring flames. Multiple investigations pointed to a catastrophic failure in safety protocols. Miners had repeatedly warned about inadequate ventilation and dangerous gas accumulations, yet these pleas were ignored in the relentless pursuit of profit. In the aftermath, whispers of negligence and potential sabotage began to circulate. Some local reports even suggested that powerful industrial interests worked behind the scenes to suppress the full truth, blaming the disaster solely on unforeseeable natural conditions while evading accountability for their gross oversight. Official inquiries were mired in controversy. While some inspectors documented the blatant disregard for safety standards, their findings were largely overshadowed by the coal company's influence over local authorities. Families of the lost pressed for justice, but their calls were stifled by a system more interested in preserving economic interests than uncovering the full scope of the tragedy. Today, the ghostly remains of the old mine entrances stand as a somber memorial. They remind us that beneath the rugged terrain of Monongah lies a story of industrial greed, human error, and a community forever scarred by a disaster that, despite rigorous investigation, still harbors unanswered questions. Have you ever visited a place where sinister cult activity once ruled the day? Located in the rugged hills of Southern California, Spahn Ranch was far more than a decaying movie set for westerns. In the late 1960s, this seemingly innocuous ranch became the infamous base for Charles Manson and his family of followers. Under the guise of a communal retreat, Manson's cult rehearsed their twisted philosophies and plotted crimes that would shock the nation. The ranch's dilapidated barns and dusty trails hide disturbing echoes of that era, a time when manipulation and violence masqueraded as free love. Today, Spahn Ranch is mostly forgotten by the public, but those who know its past past can't help but feel a chill. What if the face you trust hides a monster in plain sight? Wichita, Kansas, a city known for its friendly Midwestern charm, became infamous as the hunting ground for one of America's most notorious serial killers, BTK. Between 1974 and 1991, Dennis Rader terrorized this unsuspecting community by binding, harming, and taking the lives of his victims, all while maintaining a facade of normalcy as a family man and community leader. His ability to hide in plain sight, working by day and unleashing unspeakable horror by night, turned Wichita's calm streets into a backdrop for terror. The painstaking investigation and eventual capture only scratched the surface of the underlying darkness that had been lurking. Rader's crimes not only scarred a community, but also reshaped the way law enforcement looks at ordinary individuals with extraordinary secrets. What dark truths lie behind the genteel charm of a southern town? Deep in the heart of Mississippi, the town of Forest became a silent witness of the brutal realities of racial terror during the Jim Crow era. Behind its picturesque scenery, a series of unspeakable acts, lynchings, violent assaults, and other racially motivated crimes tore through the black community. Although official records often offer scant details, oral histories and local accounts paint a chilling picture of a time when terror was a tool of control and the cries for justice were buried under layers of systemic prejudice. The legacy of these crimes in Forest is not just a part of history, it is a lingering reminder of the deep scars left by intolerance and the courageous struggle for dignity and equality. How do you unravel a mystery when the killer leaves no trace behind? In the late 1970s, the small town of Van Buren, Arkansas, was rocked by a chilling crime committed against a respected local entrepreneur. A beloved community figure, his untimely death in a quiet residential neighborhood sent shockwaves through the town. Despite a thorough investigation and fervent local outcry, the case went cold, leaving behind a legacy of whispered suspicions and lingering distrust. Residents recall that night with a mix of disbelief and sorrow, as the unsolved crime became a symbol of how sometimes, even in the tight-knit corners of America, darkness can strike without warning. The unresolved mystery in Van Buren still invites questions as locals continue to search for the truth behind a crime that stole a cherished life. Can the lure of fortune lead to a trail of blood and betrayal? Dahlonega, Georgia is celebrated for its glittering past during the Gold Rush era, yet beneath the shine of newfound wealth lies a darker narrative. As prospectors flooded into the town in the mid-19th century, the competition for gold led to a series of violent crimes and unsolved crimes. Rivalries quickly turned deadly, neighbors betrayed one another, and mysterious disappearances added to the town's growing notoriety. Some local accounts even speak of cursed claims and spectral warnings among the hillsides. The bloodshed of Dahlonega's Gold Rush is a reminder that the pursuit of fortune often came with a deadly price. Even today, the historic streets of Dahlonega echo with the tragic legacy of greed, ambition, and the human cost of a glittering dream gone horribly wrong. What happens when the fight for workers' rights is met with brutal injustice? Bisbee, Arizona may now be celebrated for its quirky art scene and vintage charm, but in 1917, this once thriving mining town witnessed one of the darkest labor abuses in American history. During a period of fierce union activism, over 1,000 miners and supporters were forcibly removed from Bisbee in an event known as Bisbee deportation. Under the guise of maintaining order, local authorities and powerful mine owners rounded up striking workers and their families, stripping them of their rights and dignity. Many were detained under inhumane conditions, and the true extent of the human cost remains shrouded in mystery. This violent suppression not only scarred the community, but also sent shockwaves throughout the nation, exposing the dangerous intersection of industrial might and state power. Today, while Bisbee embraces its colorful present, the echoes of that turbulent past serve as a haunting reminder of what happens when justice is sacrificed at the altar of profit. What if the most baffling mysteries aren't from outer space, but from right here on Earth? Not on this list for the reasons you might think today. While Roswell is widely known for its alleged extraterrestrial encounters, the town's history hides another layer of darkness. In the 1940s, amidst Cold War paranoia and rapid military expansion, Roswell was also the scene of a series of baffling disappearances and violent crimes that were swept under the rug by local authorities. Rumors swirled that a notorious criminal network had infiltrated the area and that evidence of their activities was deliberately suppressed to protect powerful interests. Though overshadowed by the UFO legends, is that a coincidence or not, these events remain a controversial chapter in Roswell's past. For many locals, the true mystery lies not in alien visitations, but in the betrayal and secrecy that marked a turbulent period of American history, where truth was hidden behind layers of official denials and unyielding silence. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye!